Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Couple of Nukes. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Whiskey, and today, if you're watching, my energy is just flowing through me. I've got a background of lightning and light because I'm just exuding energy. Our guest today is exuding energy, standing up and recording. That's how powerful this is. That is the definition and embodiment of vitality, which is what today's episode is about, getting your energy back. Because who of y'all listening right now would love more energy? And I can't see any of y'all, but guess what? Y'all raised your hands, I hope, because who doesn't want more energy? I mean, who likes feeling fatigued, tired? And it's not just physically, mentally and emotionally, we want more energy. And guess what? They play a proportional relationship to each other. So when you're mentally and emotionally drained, your body's going to follow suit and vice versa. That's why it's good to go to the gym to bring up your mental and emotional energy. And that's why it's good to bring up your mental and emotional energy, bring up your physical energy. They all play a part together. And we have a guest here, a vitality coach, to help y'all get your energy back and to do some mindset shifting. So Adrienne Simmons, great to have you here. I mean, just bouncing with energy, just moving. You're ready. You're ready to go. So I won't hold you any longer. I won't hold you back. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Number one, thank you for saying yes to having me as a guest on your show. Hello, audience. Thank you so much for welcoming me. And I am all about living life with vitality to the max. That's what I'm about. And that's what I'm going to be speaking about on the recording this afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I'm wearing a hoodie because it's so cold here, and you got a tank top on. I'm like making me cold, but that's all right. That's the power of the global podcasting industry. But yeah, I feel a little bit lazy sitting down watching you stand, but it's okay. I've been meaning to get one of those what do you call them? Little bicycle like pedals that you
Mm-hmm.
put under your desk for people who
Mm-hmm.
have the sitting desks. And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's funny just speaking of energy. Everyone always says, "Mr. Whiskey, are you okay?" And I'm always like, "Why?" I'm just sitting here quietly. They're like, "Your foot, your legs moving up and down, 1,000 miles per hour." I said, "Yeah. Why would I ever be dormant? Life is about momentum. All right. I see my body as solid black on the inside, and whenever I move something, energy pulses through it, orange, green, blue. If I
Yes,
keep moving, I keep moving, right? And they
that's
say
correct.
it's an age-old adage, the less you do, the less you want to do. The more you do, the more you want to do. And you
There
can
you
see
go.
that. You can see older people who stop doing a lot and then they decline faster. But
Yeah.
we're young, we're full of energy, and we're gonna have a great conversation about it. So let's start with what got you into this. What about the pre-vitality days? Was your life always this energetic?
Wow, yeah. So my story and how I got to where I am today is because I lost my energy and I lost
Mm,
it because of the lifestyle choices I was making. So if we want to start at the beginning, yeah, absolutely. I believe I was just born with boundless energy. Like right up until probably my late 40s, I was just go, 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 go. And as a result, friends who knew me well dubbed me the Energizer Bunny. You remember that commercial and the Energizer Bunny is going like that? That's
yeah.
what people who know me call me. I'm just constantly high energy. No matter what I'm doing, no matter what I was eating, no matter what I was drinking, no matter what I was smoking, I was able to get up and to keep on going. And then I crossed over my 50-year line, not knowing then what I know now. Sooner or later, our bodies can only take so much burden of abuse that we keep on piling onto it before it starts to break down. And then on top of that, as a woman, my hormones are changing. Our hormones change as
Right.
we get a little bit older. Our metabolism may start to slow down based on the lifestyle choices that we pile onto our bodies. So, with a combination of that, and with me still maintaining the same lifestyle I maintained in my 20s and 30s, and that looked like I worked all day, I went out, I partied, I drank, I smoked. It was fine before then, but again, it started to take a serious toll on me. And then to add On top of that, my daughter left, went to university, and for the
Mm.
first time, I'm kind of looking around. Okay, this is what they talk about when they say the empty nest
Empty
syndrome,
nest. Yeah.
because it had been my daughter and I from the time she was 3. I separated from my husband, so I was a single mom from the time she was 3. So there was always her and I always had a reason to come home. I always had a purpose to come home. But then she goes away to university. I'm home in an empty house, and I'm paging around like a lion in a cage because I got all that energy, and
Right,
it's like
right.
I have nothing to do now because I don't have my daughter to take care of. So instead of me finding healthy new activities, I just started not coming home. You know what? Let me find somebody to go out to dinner with after work. That
Right.
was fine, but then I'm getting home at 9 and I'm still full of energy and pacing. Okay, at 9 o'clock, what can I do? Oh, I discovered there are clubs that you can go to during the week. Okay, I started going to clubs. No problem. But then I'm coming home at 11:30, and I'm still wound up and I'm still wound up. And you know what they say, depending on the environment that you are, you get introduced to certain things that might be not in your best interest. I was
Yes.
introduced to after hours. I had no idea what an after hours was, but guess what? You can go to a party at 2 o'clock in the morning and you can party till the sun rises. And
Yes.
that's what I started doing. And with after hours came more alcohol, and I was introduced to party drugs. Oh, it was great. It kept me up. I was going. And then I found that I'm only surviving now on 2, 3 hours sleep because I would still go to work. I never messed around with my job. So I'm dragging myself into work, totally tired, totally fatigued. And then I realized, oh, there's something called coffee. And when you drink coffee, it wakes you up. So I became addicted to coffee after that. And my
Wow.
life just took a really bad turn to the point where I gained, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds. I just had bags under my eyes. I was tired. I was slow. I was
Yeah, me
lethargic.
too.
And I tell people out of a 10, with 10 being, I feel energized and I feel like Superwoman. And 1 being, I'm dragging on the ground in my worst, Mr. Whiskey. I was lucky if I was maybe a 1 or a 2 out of 10 on
Right.
my worst days. Okay, so that kind of went on for a couple of years. I'm maybe 51, I'm 52, I'm 53, and I'm maintaining this type of a lifestyle. Maybe when I reached 54, went in for my regular yearly checkup, as I always do. And because I had been with my doctor for so many years, he knew me and he knew the energetic Adrienne he had been caring for many years. But when I walked in, when I was 54, he looks at me and says, Adrienne, what the hell happened to you? You look awful. And of course, I'm taken back. I said, what are you talking about, doc? Because you remember, we don't see ourselves. But when someone who hasn't seen us for a while sees us now, they will see the differences. He goes, since last year, you look like you put on a lot of weight. I'm noticing the dark circles under your eyes, and you just don't have that energetic pep that I have
Wow.
gotten used to seeing you in. What's going on? Now, of course, I'm not going to tell my daughter, my doctor, I was out after hours the night before doing whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
smoking whatever I'm smoking. I just said, well, doc, come on, man, I'm 55. What do you expect? Because what happens is you start to hear conversations that your parents are talking about in the background. So parents would say, oh, you know what? She's 50. She's supposed to be slowing down. Oh, you know what? He's 62. He's supposed to be feeling aches and pains. Oh, she's such and such an age. She's supposed to be really lethargic and gray hair and not feeling the same zest. So you remember, if you hear these type of conversations growing up now, when the time is right, so I pulled it out of my back pocket. I said, Doc, I'm 54. I'm supposed to be gaining weight. I'm supposed to be slowing down. I'm supposed to be looking like this. And he looked at me and he says, Adrienne, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is just a conversation that people have gotten used to saying as a way to kind of cover up, well, this is kind
Yeah.
of who I am right now. He goes,
Yeah.
not at all. There's something going on. What's happening? And of course, I brushed it off. You know what? I probably haven't been sleeping. It's work. I got some projects. The whole absolutely lies. And he goes, Adrienne, you know what? Okay, but I'm just saying, I really don't want to see you walk into my office next year looking like this. And I just said bye bye and I went about my
Right.
way. He calls me a week later with my test results. Adrienne, I have some bad news for you. Okay. I've never had a call like that. I said, what is it?
That's not
He
good.
goes, as a result of your test, you are pre-diabetic. You are 1 inch away from becoming full-blown diabetic. What is going on? You have never had a test that has pushed you to that extent.
Right.
You know me, I just made up something. You know what, Doc, you're right. A big project, and I probably haven't been eating. Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. And he just says, Adrienne, I'm just saying, just be careful because before you know it, things can spiral out of hand. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just hung up the phone. This is maybe, I don't know, maybe October, maybe November when I went in for my medical. The following January is when everything came to a head. I live in Canada, and that particular January was bitterly cold. It was maybe 25 to 30 degrees minus
I don't
in
like that.
Canada, minus Celsius.
Wow.
And I was a smoker, smoked my weed, smoked my cigarettes, but I never smoked in my home. I have a garage attached to my home. I remember, and I will never forget that day. It took me literally 10 minutes just to layer up with clothing. It was that cold just to go sit in my garage. I remember sitting down in a chair because obviously I had everything set up. I have a cigarette in one hand and I got a joint in the other hand. And remember, I got to take off my gloves because I don't want to burn my gloves now. And I'm
Wow.
freezing cold. And I just started to cry. I don't know where it came from, but I just lost it. And I cried and I said, God, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. It's obvious to people, my doctor, that something is going on. My daughter is going to be coming home from university, and there's no way she could see me in this condition. But I just didn't know how to get off. It was like those Ferris wheels that those mouse are on and they go around and around and around.
Yeah, yeah, the
I
hamster
didn't
wheel.
I just didn't know how to get off. Because Monday it would be, okay, you know what? I'm going to be clean this week. I'm not going to go to the after hours and I'm not going to do whatever. But by Thursday, the itch inside of you. And Thursday, I'm back at the clubs. Friday, I'm back at the clubs. And for me, it was a vicious cycle that I knew that, you know what? I need to find a way off. And the reason was that finally pushed me over is my father died from his diabetes when he was 66. If I'm
Mm.
54, 66 is how many years away? 11, 12 years away? And all I thought about Mr. Whiskey was, you mean I could be dead in 12 years? I
Wow.
didn't think about any alternatives. It was either right or left. I could be dead. And then it was my
Hmm.
daughter. I want to be that role model.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes when a child will be asked when they're adult, who was your role model? I want my daughter to say, my mother. But she wouldn't say that if I continued with the same choices I was making.
Yeah.
And I just cried until there were no more tears inside of me. And then I went back inside and I continued. I realized that over the next couple of weeks, I didn't have the same drive to go out to the clubs. Instead, I was more pulled towards let me start doing some research online on how do women's bodies change when we are in our 50s, as we are approaching our 60s and 70s and 80s. Maybe I need to learn how to change the choices I've been making. So slowly but surely, over the next couple of months, it was a mindset shift. It was somehow my mind shifted to the point where I was more curious and interested in living than I was in dying because I knew that if I continued with the same lifestyle choices, whether it would be the drugs that would eventually kill me, whether it would be the alcohol, whether it would be the junk food, whether it would be the coffee, whether it was be the sedentary lifestyle, because I really wasn't doing any kind of exercise. Yeah, I was dancing sometimes, but I was so kind of piped up sometimes. I'm just kind of sitting there, kind of just in the vibe, just not to have to go home. I would say over a period of a year, slowly but surely, I used myself as a beta test and I created a nutritional plan based on the research I had done. I joined a gym in my area. I stopped associating with the crowd that drew me into the after hours and the drugs. And instead, I found a network of maturing women in their 40s and 50s who wanted to live a healthier lifestyle. So they were more advocates and champions on how do we live a life of wellness as we get older. So, with all of that combined, by the end of that year of using myself as a beta test, my energy levels slowly but surely increased over the months to by the time I hit that 12-month mark, I was consistently at an 8 or 9 or a 10 out of 10, which I still am blessed to enjoy today. Now, along with me boosting my energy levels, people started complimenting me. God, Adrienne, you seem to have more energy. You know, your face, it looks a lot healthier. You're walking more like with a pep in your step.
Right.
What are you doing? And initially, I didn't connect it with the lifestyle choices I was making. I just said, I don't know, I guess I'm eating more fruits and vegetables and kind of joined the gym and kind of going outside more. And they said, you know what? Well, can you help us? Like, can you help us? Can you give us some tips? So I would just say, you know what, maybe, eat this more or, go to bed a little bit earlier and kind of do these things. And, they would try it and they would report back to me. And it's like, yeah, you know what, it's kind of working. And then, sometimes that light bulb will come on, that light bulb moment. A light bulb just out of the
Yeah.
blue came into me. And I said, you know what? With all of these people coming up to me telling me about their fatigue and their brain fog and saying that, God, they wish they had more energy. Energy seems to be a commodity for people living with fatigue and people living with brain fog. They want to
Yeah.
have more energy. And that's when I said, you know what? You've been helping, your friends and your colleagues with these little tips. Why don't you maybe create something a little bit more comprehensive as a coach and maybe a full program that you can take an individual through? And that's when I created the Energy Edge, Unlock Your Body's Energy Potential, and I launched it to the world. So that's how I got from being born with a bountiful amount of energy, losing my energy as a result of the lifestyle choices I made. And then by the grace of God, I will always say, by the grace of God, I was given another opportunity to find a way to reclaim my energy because I do believe it's our birthright to live a life of vitality. And as a result of me being given a chance by the Almighty to clean up my life, I realize my
Hmm.
purpose is, you know what? I need to pay it forward. Everywhere I look around me, I am seeing people in different stages of fatigue and lethargic and tired and not living to their full potential. And it's like, you know what? I know what I'm here for now. I'm here to let people know, don't give up hope. Don't give up hope and do not accept it as your lot in life that you have to live like this for the rest of your life. You can reclaim your energy with some simple lifestyle choices if that's what you want. And that's my story. And that's where I am today.
Yeah, a lot of unpack there. I'm still mind blown about the. Now, I don't smoke at all, but the cigarette in one hand, joint in the other.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
in alcohol terms that's called double fisting. I don't know if there's a term for that for smoking, but
Yeah.
that blows my mind that you're doing, the
Yep.
one for one there. But
Mhm.
yeah. So if I'm tracking the years that have passed, you're approaching that age towards which you could have been dead and you're full of energy instead. So that's so beautiful.
Yes. God
That's
bless.
amazing. And I assume you reverse the diabetes. You are like it's gone, right?
Years ago. Absolutely.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
And I want to give a fun Mr. Whiskey fact in relation to something you said. So write this down, ladies and gentlemen. I might host this as like a giveaway prize question in the future. As a child, I had an irrational fear of the Energizer Bunny. Like I was terrified of it. Like the commercial would come on, and I'd be like, ah, I gotta leave the room. Like I don't know why. Okay, I'm not scared of him now. Although if he was life size and he was like 6 foot, 7 foot Energizer Bunny, I'd be scared of him. I mean, it's like when you go to Australia to fight a kangaroo. It's like he's got these giant drumsticks. He's got the drum.
Yeah.
He's full of energy. He's, I think he wears sunglasses too. Like he's an intimidating guy. But yeah, you said Energizer Bunny, and I started shaking. I was like, oh, I was afraid of him as a kid. um, I don't know why. I something must have happened. I've got something repressed somewhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm just terrified of the cost of batteries. But yeah, so we can see you have so much energy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not watching this, you need to watch this. Adrienne is just all over the place. It's got me pumped up. And yeah, what I want to ask is I know you've hinted at menopause quite a bit there with, women in their, middle age and later 50s. And I'm no expert in that, trust me. But that being said, everything you're doing is applicable to men as well. While they don't go through menopause, their body does go through changes. They lose muscle mass faster, it's harder to maintain. I think their testosterone levels get lower, all kinds of stuff. So everything you're doing though is universally applicable to men as well, correct?
That is correct. Absolutely. You know, what I've come to realize, and I continue because I'm on a constant path of learning, always learning. And
Right.
over the years, as I continue my research and I connect more and more within the wellness networks, our bodies are at its core, we're just living organisms. Even
Yeah.
prior to that, we're just quantum energy. But in physical form, we are living organisms. And you made a point of saying, we should always be in movement. Absolutely. When you look at any organism under a microscope, it's always moving. It's never stagnant. When it's stagnant, it's dead now. So if we are a living organism and if we are meant to move, that is the number one clue to individuals who are kind of living more of a sedentary life. You are not living to your
Mhm.
true biology. And I like to say, people, I like to keep it real. A lot of us don't respect our body. I know I didn't respect my body. If you're sedentary, your body needs to move. If your
Mhm.
body is an organism, it survives more on plant-based food. It survives more on food that our biology was made for. But you see, in this modern world, things have to be made easy. You know what? It's easier to pick up the phone and call Uber and, let me just kind of order some McDonald's, as opposed to, next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to shop more on the outside aisles on the produce and I'm going to pick up a little bit more plant-based food, some vegetables and fruits, because guess what? I'm a living organism and that's what my body needs. So
Yeah.
whether you're a male or female, it doesn't matter what sex you are a living organism. And as such, you need to understand, what does your biology need, not what do you need. And
Yeah.
most of us are living a life of, well, it's about me, man. It's about me. Like, what do
Mhm.
I want, not what does my body need. And for me, that is the deepest principle that I've come to understand as a wellness champion. It's about what my body needs and not what I want. Because if I continue with what I want, yeah, we take the easy way out. Let's be honest, especially like for me, for example, I work a full-time job and then I'm stuck in traffic for about an hour and a half. Sometimes when you come home, it's like, you know what? Okay, I can pick up the phone and have something delivered in no time, or I can maybe take half an hour, 45 minutes and make myself a meal that I know is going to nourish my body. For the majority of the population, I'm tired. It's been an hour and a half now. I don't want to have to stand up for 45 minutes and make a proper meal. I just want to plop on the sofa. Let me just pick up the phone and call an Uber. So it's about shifting people's mindset around. If you really respect yourself, if you really love yourself, if you really want to live a life of longevity, and if it's going to be long, do you want it to be a life of health Or do you want it to be a long life where you know what, you're ill most of the time? There are too many people in our world that are living longer, but they're living unhealthy longer. And that's why our healthcare system. But you know what? I'm going on a rant. I'm going on a rant. For
Yeah,
me,
you're good.
it's everybody has to make their own decision. Some people are okay with, you know what, yep, you're right, I know I'm not living my healthiest life, but it works for me. I'm comfortable, I like sitting down. Yes, I'm so many pounds overweight, but you know what, I gotta die anyways. That's the attitude you hear from individuals. That's cool. If that's what you want, that's what you want. You have to want it bad enough to make the
Hmm.
changes. You have to know your why. If you have a why that's going to drive you to make those decisions, that, you know what? Yeah, some people say, I don't want to exercise, but I know I have to exercise. I know that, you know what? God, I would love to have some nachos fully loaded, but I know that, you know what? I know I should probably have some fruits and vegetables. You know what? I want a beer, but I really know that I should probably have some water. You know what? I want that latte from Starbucks, but you know what? I know I should really have some. It's a decision we have to make
Right.
based on what is it you want to do with your life. If your life requires you to be fully engaged and energized, then you need to give your body what it needs and stop giving yourself what
Hmm.
you want.
Everything you're saying resonates with me because it actually throws back to our episode on fitness with Steve Hawkman. And we talked about how fitness, and his definition blew my mind, is about aligning with your true identity. If you want to be a lazy person who's overweight, then that's your choice. If you want to be a healthy person who is there and can live life abundantly and with energy, then you're going to go work out. And it aligns with my episode with Ms. Moj on joy because we said, I talked about how, look, our joy comes from, especially in America, we love eating sugary foods. We love chocolate and candies. But you know what? As an adult, you get joy from eating healthy stuff that doesn't taste good, but the joy comes from the long term results that you're healthy and abundant. Like you said, we are our biggest healthcare advocate. Our health is our choice, unfortunately. It's the same thing we say all the time. My show covers addiction recovery a lot. Guess what? It's the
Yeah.
same thing. That's a health situation where they're making a choice, and whether, they're in control of it or not, that's a whole debate on their own. By the end of the day, they're making a choice
Exactly.
to continue their addiction at the cost of their health. And they're willing to. I've talked to alcoholics and addicts
Yeah.
who say, I will
Yeah.
die doing this and I'll die happy. And I said,
Exactly.
well, I don't
Exactly.
think you will, but that's your choice. And
Your choice.
with Tien Wang, she talked about how she got into fitness because she climbed up a single flight of stairs and was breathing heavy at the top. She goes, I don't want to live
Bingo.
my life like this.
Bingo.
It is a
Bingo.
choice. It's such an
Bingo.
important choice. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, all we can do is try to teach people, hopefully discipline, so they can continue to improve their health when they're not motivated. But like we've said before, why would you not want more energy? You know, as long as you know how to handle it and expel it in a healthy way, you
Mhm.
can never have too much energy. So I completely agree with everything you're saying. It really resonates with me.
You know,
And
the,
it's
the,
sad. I've never understood it. I'll occasionally watch the show, My 600 Pound Life and other stuff, or I just
yes,
walk around the
yes,
streets and
yeah.
see really over, set people. And I'm not saying they're bad people, right? I'm friends
No,
with them. They're nice people. But
no.
I look at them and I say, how could
Yeah,
you ever let yourself get to that?
yeah,
I could never imagine
yeah.
allowing myself to get to that. I feel like at the first, if I ever gained weight, and I felt like the first time I, couldn't fit in a shirt, or I couldn't fit through a doorway. I mean, some of them can't fit through doorways, or I could barely get in my car, or I couldn't bathe myself. I,
I know.
I can't imagine saying, well, this is it. I'm just going to rely on others.
I
But
know.
I value my independency. I value being able to do stuff. So it is really what you value. So I completely agree with you. And so for those of us listening who love your energy, which it's contagious, it's hard not to love your energy. I mean, what exactly do you offer that they can work with you? I know you mentioned helping people, guiding them. Is that one-on-one coaching? Is it group sessions? What does that entail for your life?
Yes, at this time, I do offer only one-on-one coaching. I really believe in a customized, unique
Yeah.
program for just you and I. I respect group coaching, but that information is more kind of generalized and you kind of focus on specific topics. And that's something that is on the back burner for me because more and more people are reaching out and I'm realizing I'm getting a backlog and maybe I really should start considering doing it in a group. But for now, because my passion is making a difference for you, a transformation from you. I want to be able to just focus on you and your kind of transformation over the 12-week process. So it's a 12-week program. We meet once a week. We meet for 60 minutes, and it's always about building on what you accomplished the week before. So, for
Right.
example, my program will start off with we need to find out where your ground zero is. And for me, your ground zero is where are you currently in all of your dimensions? And yes, the main channels are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, but there are 5 to 6 other dimensions that I think are just as important. So again, we know it's emotional. And then we also have intellectual, though. What are you doing to ensure that you are still building your intellectual wellness, your learning capacity? And then we obviously have nutritional, which we know. And then we also have social wellness. What does your social network look like? There are just so many people living in silo. And as a result of constantly being on your own and not connecting with others, because as human beings, we are meant to connect and socialize with others.
Right.
We are not meant to always be on our own. Because after a while, you by yourself all the time, you start kind of coming up with your own kind of theories. You kind of start coming up with your own kind of and it's not healthy for your overall emotional and mental wellness because you start making up your own stories. And then there's also occupational wellness because our lives are predominantly either school, work, or business, our occupational wellness. Are we enjoying either what we're studying in school? Are we enjoying and loving and getting joy from our jobs? And what about our businesses? If you are not happy occupationally, that, like you said, everything is connected. It's going
Hmm.
to affect your other wellness channels. And a new channel of wellness that has been introduced over the last couple of years is environmental wellness. What is your understanding of your part in caring for the environment? So I always start off with looking at all of your dimensions of wellness, and I ask you to rate it out of a scale from 10 to 1, 10 being I'm doing phenomenal in that channel, or you know what, not doing too well. And any of your channels that you score yourself a 5 and under, for me, that's telling me that's sucking up your energy. Because if you're giving it an 8 or a 9 or 10, you're definitely injecting a lot of positive vibrations into that channel. But if you're saying that, you know what, I forgot financial wellness. If you are saying my financial wellness, maybe I'm at a 2 or 3, you know what? That's telling me if you're not doing well financially, it's definitely going to be affecting other channels of your
Yep.
wellness because it's on your mind
100%.
all the time. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And that affects your mental wellness. And how you feeling mentally, it's how you're feeling this way. And then maybe it's going to affect you on the job. It's like a domino effect. If one is not doing well, it's definitely going to affect the other channels sooner or later. So we need to figure out, where do you start? And then from there, I will build your customized program around your channels that you have rated under a 5. And then over the next 12 weeks, we are going to increase your energy levels through different strategies, through different modalities until you get to the level you want to be. So you will also let me know in the first 2 sessions, well, financially, Agent, I want to be an 8 out of 10. Intellectually, I think I want to be a 10 out of 10. You have to let me know where you want to be in all your wellness channels, and then I will help you get to that level. That's how my programs work.
Awesome. And we're going to have the link in the description below for your website so people can find you and check you out. Because I think if anyone can give us energy, it's definitely you. I mean,
Absolutely.
you've got it. Like it's even for the people who are just listening to this, I know they can hear it because it is exuding out of you. It is being projected, And as it approaches evening time over where I'm recording at, it's great to have that little boost because the night is still young, and
That's right.
I need it. So I appreciate it. It's a great conversation. It's fun recording with people who are energetic. I've had, not naming any names, I've
I
had a
know, I
guest or
know, I know,
two,
I know,
before where
I know.
they come on and they just have, I mean, just dead energy. It's just
I know,
negative energy. So,
I know.
like you said, we're social creatures and we really feed off of each other's energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that really with podcasting. If the guest is full of energy and doing great. Same with, if you go into a room, we've talked about this in a recent episode. If you walk into a room, is everyone like, hey, you're here, Mr. Whiskey, ready to see you, and it's
Yep.
good energy? Or is it like
Yeah.
everyone gets a little quiet, And
Mm-hmm.
that's related to a lot of things, but one of them is energy. People can kind of sense, when you walk in a room, they can sense if you're a party pooper, for lack of better terms,
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Adrian, it's been such a great conversation. I know you could record for hours. You got plenty of energy, so I'm gonna let you get back out there to go change some lives. But for the meantime, it's been great having you on the show, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much and namaste.
Sailing through the ocean blue, nuclear reactors my crew, guiding the ship, the stars as our guide, through the waves we ride. Jokes and laughter fill the air, on this voyage we have to share, working together, side by side, as one family we will abide. In the heart of the ship we reside, nuclear operators with pride, powering the vessel with every stride. Our mission, a source of great pride.